All right, Steve, so we just got done talking in the last chapter about leverage.
We did.
And we are on tactic number 4.
Yeah.
What did you take away from Find the Motivated?
All right, so this is about lead generation. And, you know, is it any surprise that this chapter right here is the longest chapter in the book on lead generation? You know, when the shift occurs, the first thing that happens is the leads start drying up. There's fewer things on the market, fewer showings, right? I mean, and at that point, people need to take notice, right? Something's going on, right? And so there's scarcity, but just because there's scarcity, it doesn't mean that we have to feel the negative effects of that, right?
Right. There still are houses that are going to be sold. It's going to be sold, bought and sold by the people who are motivated.
One of the things that we talk about often is we're looking for people that are ready, willing, and able, correct?
Right.
What happens in the shift is suddenly people might think they're ready or they might be able, but suddenly they're not willing, right? And so we've got to find the willing, and that's really, those are the people that are motivated. There's 3 things that we want to do. We want to stop doing what doesn't work, right? So the very first thing is we have to find out, well, what are we doing in general?
Yep.
Then we rate those things for lead generation, right? Take a look at the top 10 things that you're doing. Rate them according to the leads that you receive, because sometimes we think we're doing something and getting a result, but we're really not until we measure it.
Right.
And then oh my gosh, I thought I was doing better with that, right? And you find out, well, that's not really working very well. So we want to find out what's not working, and we want to eliminate those. Like right out of the gate, take 5 of the top 10 and boot them. Gary talks about finding out what is working, and when he talks about what is working, he's really talking about messaging and aligning the message with the market, right?
Yep, absolutely. So when the motivation is low, there are fewer messages that actually work.
Yeah, so
right.
If you're not getting any leads, that means what? It means your messaging isn't working.
Right. When I was selling, it was in 2010, and it was right after 2008, and I prided myself on finding really good deals for people. So I would say things like, hey, I just sold a really good deal to somebody else, because in a shifting market, that's the only thing people really care about. And a lot of people care about that all the time, but they really care about it in a shifting market.
A lot of agents, especially new agents, they get started, when we think about lead generation, they actually want to do marketing and not prospecting. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so marketing is more of just getting your messaging out there, and prospecting is getting out there and physically forcing the conversations. You're making calls, you're going face to face, you're door knocking, you're talking with people at church or work,
right.
Finding out who wants to buy or sell, or who needs to.
Right. When we look at that whole concept of messaging, a lot of times we're putting out two different messages. We put out direct messaging, and we put out indirect messaging. Right. But both of them, it doesn't matter whether it's a direct or indirect message. We're looking for an immediate response. Right, we're not just throwing something out there hoping for something down the road. Right. We're putting something out that either they want to buy or sell and do business with us now or in the future. But no matter what, there's an immediate response, even if it's just, hey, I want to take advantage of finding out what my home's value is right now. Right, that would be, it's an indirect message with an immediate response.
Right. Do you want to start talking a little bit about step 3?
Sure. I mean, first we find out what's working and we find out what's not working, and then we need to get into action, right? Because if we don't do anything with those leads, nothing happens, right? Ultimately, we're salespeople. Right. We're in the business of selling things. That's how we make our money. If nothing sells,
right,
there's no income.
And ramp it up. So when you're like you were saying, like find what's working and make it your number 1 priority. I know that when I was buying and selling, I'd hold my open houses on Packer game day. And I would do that on purpose. I'd either listen to it on my phone or on the radio, and I would hold my open houses during when the Packer game was showing up. And very few people showed up.
The ones who did.
The ones who did were motivated. So it was like my little filter.
So in effect, what you were doing with that time block, right? I mean, you had that set out every Sunday 3 to 5. That was a lead gen time for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's really what it takes. If we're going to do lead generation well, we're going to time block it. So if you're just watching this now, the number 1 thing you want to do, first of all, commit to your business and commit to your own why. Then measure everything. Stop what isn't working. Figure out what is working with those messages and direct responses, and then get into action. Time block and get out there and do it.